This is API Manager demonstration, and in this demonstration we will explain product capabilities in detail. So before we start, let me quickly walk you through some of the components we have in API Manager. So in this diagram you will see components we have in API Manager 4.0. So in your left side you see different tooling options. So these tools are the ones we use to design and develop your APIs. So that includes various IDE plugins, API controller, integration studio, streaming editor, and kubectl. And with these tools you can design and develop your APIs. So next comes the management plane. So in the management plane we have again different components: developer portal, service catalog, API publisher, analytics, and the API operator. So we use these components to manage your APIs and integration services. So then comes data plane, which is our runtime component. There we have API gateways and integration services. So integration services mean micro integrator and streaming integrator. While we move ahead with demonstration, I will explain how these runtimes can work together. So data plane will mainly accept the messages and do the necessary transformation and other integration related stuff, and it mainly responsible for the API invocation flow. So in your right side you see control plane. So control planes mean that mainly act as a control related operations, basically traffic management and the key management. So together these component we have API manager, and that can work together with any SaaS proprietary and legacy systems, or else it can work with application services and the data within your organization. So finally together these component we expose your data and services to outside as manage APIs and the services. Okay, so in this demonstration first I will explain how you can design and develop your integration service using the integration studio and deploy that within the micro integrator runtime. So I'll start with integration studio. So this is our integration studio user interface. So this is very easy to use graphical editor which allows you to design and develop your integration flows. So in our demo script, in the E3 section we have something to create API from the existing resource. So to cover that, I decided to implement very simple use case where we have database and the table, and we need to expose the data to outside as a service. So basically simple CRUD operations only. So that is about this service. So I have created employee data service, and we have provided name and other descriptions. Then we have enabled specific transport protocols. So then I have configured my data source, basically database type, database driver, and database URL and credential related information. So then I have a set of queries that I need for my service. So you can write these queries like this. So basically with this we can exactly say what we want to do with this database operation. So basically in this case we are going to select certain attribute from the employee table. Something similar to that we have other operations as well. Then I am going to create resources for my API. So I have resource path and the resource method and the query. So query is the one I created before. So if I want to read, then I can select my read employee query. Then these are different HTTP resources. So now with this I have completed my data services part. So now I can easily expose my database and the table contents to outside as a API. So I think this covers E3 section, and while we are on the integration studio, I want to cover some other part as well. So in the C2 section it asks for the mediation capabilities. So in the API manager we do support mediation capabilities in two different places, in the API gateway itself and the integration runtime. So with this I am going to explain you how you can create integration service and deploy that within the micro integrator runtime. So to cover that scenario, I have different telco providers who are selling tickets on behalf of me. So they are sending message to me in different formats. So they send XML, JSON and the SOAP messages, but I need to aggregate all these messages and get a single JSON response. So that is my use case. So let's see how we can build integration service to cater that requirement. Okay, so I have started API definition and I have created resource. Inside this resource I'm going to call these different endpoints. So Nexus is one endpoint, then Whisk is another one, then finally Tenet endpoint. So I call these JSON, XML and SOAP services and get their responses and finally aggregate them and respond back to user. So this is my integration service which I created to cover C.2 section. So in your right side you see tool palette. So this tool palette you can use to design your integration flow. There are like lot of tools available. So if you want to have switch case mediators, filters, if you want to call databases, you want to call Java classes, so all these capabilities are there. So with this you can design your integration services. So now I have completed my integration service. So actually two services. First one is to read the database table and expose that to outside. So the second one to communicate with three different backend and aggregate the responses as a single JSON payload. Okay. So since I have completed these things, I'm going to deploy this. So to do that, I'll run this command docker compose restart. So then once I execute this command, what happens underlying is the artifact I created using the integration studio will be deployed into micro integrator runtime. So I think it will be completed. Okay, it's completed. So now I can go to API publisher and first log in there as a API provider. Okay, I logged in. So this is the API publisher UI, basically place which allows you to design and develop your APIs, right? So once I log here, I'll go to services. Then you can see the services that I already created. So employee service and the telecom matrices service. So these services we can convert into API. So for example, if I need to convert this service into API, I can convert that with just one click like this. Okay. So I created this API, then I can deploy that. Then I can quickly try this API. Okay. So now I got my response, and here you can see employee information which I stored in the table. So basically with this we covered C3 and the C2. Okay. So then I'll move into another section and explain how we can create API. So in API Manager Publisher view, when you create API, you can create multiple API types: REST API, SOAP, GraphQL, streaming, or API from the service catalog. So far what we tried was the service catalog option. So to cover A1, which is create API from the OpenAPI reference, I'm going to demonstrate that now. So start with, I'm going to go here, select OpenAPI definition, public API, go ahead with next steps. So I have already created this API, that is why we see it here. I'll go to created API. Okay, so this is, I started with the OpenAPI definition. So when you pass the API definition and start API creation flow, you can develop your API, then you can deploy your API, then you can test. Once you are confident about your API, you can publish that to developer portal. So in the develop flow, we have two main items: portal configuration and the API configuration. I will quickly walk you through these steps. Okay, so basic information mean some information about your API, and you can provide business information about your API. Then you can select different tiers, basically request counts for your API. Then you can associate documents for your API. You can add comments, or you can reply to comments on your API. So that's about the portal configuration. Then we have API configuration, which are like runtime configuration. Runtime configuration is structured into three parts: request, response, and the fault flow. So in the request flow, we can first check transport level security, HTTP, HTTPS, or mutual SSL. So then you can apply application level security. Basically, how you gonna secure your API. It can be auth2, basic, or the API key. And if you have multiple key managers, then you can select them here. Then you can set course configuration for your API. Then we have schema validation feature, which will validate your incoming request against the OpenAPI definition. Basically, in the OpenAPI definition, we have model. Then in the request flow, we check the request against those models associated with resources. Then we have API mediation policy. So this again covers C2. C2 basically discuss about the mediation flow. Previously I explained how we can do a complex mediation flow. So this one is for the very simple one. So you can see some of the already available policies. So if you want to do protocol transformation, message login, and that sort of simple thing, you can always use this already available items. So I'll open one of them and explain that to you. So you can see this is JSON validator. So you can provide different attributes related to JSON: max property length, max length, and element count likewise. So with these sort of policies, you can have additional checks in the API gateway, and block some of the attacks like entity expansion, cohesive parsing, XML bomb sort of attacks with this. So likewise, there are some other policies available, regex policies. So if you want to block SQL injection kind of thing, you can use this one. So likewise, there are different policies, and if you are not satisfied with available policies, you can always upload your own policy. Okay, so that's about message mediation. And the response path also, we have message mediation. So basically in the response path also, you can convert message to different format. And regarding the response caching, which is F3 section, we discuss API caching. So this is response caching. You can set the cache timeout and enable disable caching for your API. So then in the fault section, we have common policies, custom policies, and similar to previous one, you can select your policies. So that's about runtime. So then these are different resources of your API. You can associate security for resource level. Then you can see your OpenAPI definition. Then you can set your endpoint configuration, various load balancing, failover configuration, endpoint timeouts, all these things you set here. Then you can set API properties, and then finally you can deploy this API. So when you deploy API, you can create revision out of your API and deploy that. So the advantage of revision is you don't need to modify already deployed API in the gateway due to the changes in API publisher side. So basically what it does is it will create the snapshot of your API and create runtime artifact, deploy that selectively for a specific gateway. You can have multiple revisions and multiple revisions at the same time deployed in different gateways, and based on the requirement you can always fall back to previous version. I mean, if you see an issue with new version, you can always fall back to previous revision. Okay, so then in the publisher itself you can try out your APIs and see how this work. and if you are satisfied with your API, then you can move ahead with publishing your API. So I have tested my API and it works. So now I am going to go to lifecycle and publish this API. Okay, so now this API publish. So I think with this we covered basic features of the publisher as well. So now I am going to move to API product flow, right? So here you can see API product. So this is again discuss under A2 create API product. So I'll start with the product. Product APIs. So I'll go ahead with this one, and here you can see APIs that we already created. So I'll select Coltrane API and get the schedule one resource from this API, and I'm going to this API and select another resource from this one. So I picked two different resources from two APIs, and now I'm going to create API product out of that. Okay, so now API product created. So I can set the information about this product, I can set the images and other information, and I can set the runtime configuration, authentication if I need, I can change that, schema validation I can change. So then finally I can deploy this API product into my runtime. So now this API product is being deployed into runtime, and people can use that as a digital product. Okay, so I think that covers A2. So then now we are moving to E3, which we need to discuss about alternatives for the REST APIs. So previously when I create API, I demonstrate how we can create REST API and create an API to the service catalog. So now I am going to create APIs from different protocols. So the first one I am going to use is the GraphQL. So in the GraphQL case, you can provide GraphQL definition similar to the OpenAPI definition we did in the previous case, then provide necessary information. So I have already created GraphQL API, so I'll go ahead with that. This is my GraphQL API. I have already created and deployed this GraphQL API. Basically, this is available in the runtime and the deployed. Okay, so then that's about one protocol. So then other protocol I need to discuss is async API. So async API definition and the async API specification is quite popular among the streaming API developers. So we do support async API import here. So if you have already available async API definition, you can click here, you can add the OpenAPI async API definition here like this, and move ahead with API creation process. So I have uploaded my file, and when I go to next step, it asks for the name, context version, and the protocol. So this protocol is the implementation. It can be either WebSocket, WebSub, or the SSE. So based on the protocol that you provide, it asks for some additional parameters. So async API is the definition, and WebSub, SSE, and the WebSocket are the different protocols that we support. So for this one also I have already created one. I have created one API, train location. So this is WebSocket API, and I have provided WebSocket URL. Here you can see. Then I have deployed this API. So these are like two different protocols I need to highlight in addition to REST. So now I'm not going to discuss detail about the other stuff, but let me quickly log into developer portal and show how these APIs work. Okay, so I log in here as developer user. Okay, so now you can see my train GraphQL API. So if I need to try it, I can go here, get test key, and I can simply invoke this and see how it works. Okay, I pass this entry. Okay. So this is again my alternative to REST GraphQL. You get this response, and now I'm going to show you how you can use WebSocket API. So this is my WebSocket API. I'm going to go to tryout option. Okay, so now I can invoke this using the WSCat. So now I connect to my gateway and it sends me the WebSocket event. Okay, so I think this covers C3 as well.